Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Sports Federation TV, the show that brings you all the news about all the sports in all of the Western Cape. Now tonight we've got a great lineup, 3 amazing sports joining us. We'll be talking equestrian, netball, and the people from Project Playground are here to tell us about their organization. Later on in the show, once again, you get a chance to win a sorted case of Bash's drinks, so keep your cell phone ready for that announcement. First up, from equestrian, we have Robyn and Tarryn Stebbing joining us. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to Sports Federation TV. Now, equestrian is such an amazing sport, and I'm sure the people who love animals and especially horses gravitate towards it. Please tell us more about exactly what you do in this sport.
Robyn and myself are both involved in showing. Both of us do other disciplines, but showing is one that we are both very passionate about.
So what's showing specifically about?
Well, I think the one thing that definitely both of us and everyone else that does showing, it's a great discipline in the equestrian world that brings the rider and the horse together, and it's the preparation and the, like, you plait your horse, so you can do your hair, your makeup, you even do the horse's makeup, you know. And it really is great fun, and I know everyone says, oh, things require so much effort, but this kind of effort really makes everything just so much better and a lot more fun.
So the name showing for this particular aspect, is it showing off the horse?
It is exactly that.
Yeah.
It's showing off the horse and the rider.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you don't look prettier than the horse then. You try not to look prettier than the horse.
Well, when you're on the horse, you're a team.
Ah, lovely. Okay. So showing concentrates on the aesthetics of the horse and the rider, and then you also mentioned dressage.
Well, back to the showing, it's not just about the look of the horse. There's a lot of factors that come into play. Conformation of the horse, the way it's put together is a big thing, as well as how the horse moves and then how well trained it is. So schooling is a lot to do with training and schooling. You get different types of showing, different classes, and some might involve jumping and others might involve things like walking over a mat, and all of those things take hours, days, years of training to do. So it is quite a lot more than just looking at a pretty animal and a pretty rider.
Yeah.
Okay. And with the dressage?
Yeah, with the dressage, it's more of a different aspect. It's you get given certain movements to do, and it's put together in a test, and you have to show off those movements. And showing, it's more of it's done in a group, and then you get pulled aside and you have to show a test. And it's a lot more, you know, the makeup and the prettiness, and you wear a tweed jacket most of the time or a navy jacket, and dressage, it's very black and white.
Okay, so dressage is they evaluating what aspect?
Definitely what your horse can do. It's put into different levels, and as well as showing is also in different levels, but it's a lot more almost complicated than showing, and it's an Olympic discipline, and
Okay, Tarryn, how did you get involved with equestrian?
I have always been involved with horses some way or another. My mother was born on a farm, and ever since I was little I was put on a horse's back, and so it's always been very natural to me. I started riding competitively as a teenager, and after school, although I studied something else, I got pulled into working with horses, and I do love it.
So it's your passion?
It's my passion as well as my job, yes.
Yeah. And with you, Robyn, you're still in school, right?
Yes, I am still in school, so I have to divide my time between my academics and my horse riding, but I've been riding for as long as I can remember, and I was put on a horse at about like 2 years old and it's stuck. I'm so passionate about it, yeah.
All right. So what level do you both compete in?
We are both at an open level, and it also depends because Tarryn has some young horses, so she will be competing at the lower level, but and I currently have a pony in the open level, but Tarryn did have a horse that she competed at the open level as well.
It's constantly changing. It depends on your horse and where that horse is at the time. So you can be on top one day and then you can be right down in the low class the next day, depending on what horse you ride.
Yeah.
Right. So how are the horses categorized?
Well, it depends. You enter your show and you enter your level or your class, and it also depends on your points as well. So if you have a certain number of points in the lowest class, then you need to go up to the next class. And generally with a young horse, you'll be starting at a lower level, and with a more experienced horse, you'll be in a higher level.
Okay.
So there's always a way that you can work your way up. Our young horses always start at a very entry level, and then they would go to a novice level and then an open level, and your open level being your highest level, where you can be put forward towards making teams for the province, and after that national teams.
So you're dealing with horses in different stages of their life as well. So very young horses to more mature horses.
Yes.
Right, so how is the sport administered in the Western Cape?
Well, unfortunately we do struggle with funding a lot of the time because it is a very expensive sport, and also it's difficult for the sport to be recognised by schools, but we are lucky that it is recognised, and we have our Western Cape Championships and our South African Championships, which usually take place in Gauteng, and yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to our sponsors, because it's not as well publicised sport as, say, cricket or soccer. We rely strongly on our sponsors, and for our upcoming championship now, we've got Jaguar Land Rover Constantiaberg, and we really thank them, because without our sponsors we can't make things like this happen.
No, absolutely, and that's a phenomenal brand to have linked to your sport. And I'm sure it's going to encourage other corporates to also get involved.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah, no, it's always lovely when the corporates come on board, and it's a mutualistically beneficial relationship. So back to the way people can get involved in the sport. Can you talk us through the different levels in your administration, from joining a club or a stable or whatever it is?
Well, you can get involved. There's a lot of riding schools around Cape Town or South Africa, and you can call them up and start lessons on one of their horses. And once you're at a level where you can ride, you can look at buying your own horse, and then that opens up a whole lot of doors, because once you've got your own horse, then the sky's the limit as to what you can achieve.
Yeah. I think the one thing that is great about showing is that I know so many young girls and boys that do it, and they can be led by their parents or by their brothers and sisters, and so you really can start at a young age, because there's under 8 and there's under 10, which is great for bringing in younger children.
Well, you've brought some lovely photos, so we can have a closer look. Well, we've got one from your looks like a championship or an event. Is that showing?
This is showing, and that is a horse of mine which I've recently sold. He's up in Joburg at the moment.
He's beautiful.
He is very special.
He's stunning.
He's currently competing there, and that was actually at our Western Cape Championships 2 years ago, and that is one of our tiny tots.
Yes,
she's 5 years old.
Wow.
And as you can see, you're never too young to start showing.
Sure. Well, and you mentioned earlier that you started at 2.
Yeah, I was very young when I started.
And that's a 5-year-old competitor.
Yes,
well, rider.
And that's her mother with her. So it's a great bonding sport too.
Yeah.
Right. Oh wow, so we've got this action photo.
Yes, that's of me on one of my horses that I used to compete, and that was in one of the working classes, which is the more of the jumping, and it's very exhilarating and it's a lot of fun. And you know, for that kind of class, you want a bulky horse with flashy and yeah.
Wow. So I'm sure the riders have their favorites. And tell us about your relationship with your beloved horses.
You know, that's what makes the sport so special, because it's all about the bond that you have with the animal, and it's very much, it's a team. You have to have that relationship, and there's a lot of trust involved, especially Robyn here, she does a lot of jumping, and when you're on an animal jumping high jumps, you've got to really trust that they're going to look after you and take you over.
Yeah.
So that plays a huge part in it, and it's also a very therapeutic sport. I mean, just being around the animals and getting that relationship, it's great for anyone who loves animals.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine how amazing it must be.
Yeah.
What has been some of your highlights in the 2017 season?
Well, we were lucky enough to have this Western Cape Championship sponsored, so we're very lucky to have it happen. And we have another upcoming championship for show jumping, and we have recently had the equitation, which is another discipline. And we've had previous shows, and yeah, we're very, very lucky to have had so many shows over the year so far. And we have our SA Championships in December in Gauteng, and hopefully we'll have some good teams to take forward for Western Cape. And yeah.
So what happens after the national tournament?
Well,
do you get invited to international
Unfortunately, with equestrian, it is an expensive sport, which is very unfortunate, because there's a lot of talent which you know, relies heavily on funding, because the sport is so expensive.
Yeah.
And you would have to transport your horses, hey?
Well, that's where it becomes very difficult for us as equestrians to take part in international competitions, because of those exuberant expenses. So without full sponsorship, it is very difficult to get further than a national level.
Sure. So there is very few people that can or may go to the world or international events.
Yeah. I think in 2015 I was lucky enough to be invited by the Showing Association of South Africa to go over to the United Kingdom and participate. And I didn't take my horse over, I went and I got given a horse over there, and it unfortunately is the most incredible experience. It really is. And I really do hope that one day the funding would be possible, because I had the most incredible time. And yeah, it is very, very special, and your national anthem and your colours and representing your country is the most incredible experience.
Yeah, it's every athlete's dream.
Yeah.
Hey? Tarryn, now, is it difficult then when you go abroad to work with a new horse? Does it take a lot more effort and patience?
Well, I think Robyn is best to answer this question.
Yeah, I think definitely getting there a few days before the competition and having to get on a new horse, you don't know what it's like. You've never met it before, and every horse is different. You don't get a horse that's going to be the same. It's going to have a different temperament, a different nature, and you don't know what to expect. You really don't. And yeah, it is difficult, but you, as a rider, you have to say, come on, you've got to get on with it now. This is what you've been dealt, and it is also exciting, you know, getting there and going, oh, I wonder what horse I'm going to ride now.
And you meet people from all over the world.
Yes, yeah.
Were the participants from the other countries, were they able to bring their own horses?
Well, there was a team from New Zealand who also got given horses from the United Kingdom, and then there were a team from Ireland, Scotland, and they brought their own horses, and obviously they were very lucky, but there was such a different variety of horses. Yeah.
So does equestrian get invited, well, the riders and the horses from equestrian, would you all get invited to special other projects like movies and commercials and things like that? Are you ever called upon for those kind of things?
We actually have a whole division for that. There are specific people which work purely in that field.
Industry.
And they train their horses for stunt work. So our horses would probably not be suited for that. That would be their pure role, and they would be trained as a stunt horse.
Okay. Well, before we wrap up, please tell us about the Western Cape Showing Championship.
Yeah, well, it's very, very exciting. I, in particular, and I'm sure as Tarryn, are both very excited, and we're very lucky to have the most incredible sponsor and also sponsors for the smaller classes, and it is going to be the most incredible show. And even if you are not a non-horsey person, or you are a horsey person and you're not at the show competing, just come along, have a look at it and watch the horses. They're also like going to be horses for sale at the show. You know, it's great. It's going to be the most incredible experience.
So when will it be, and where's the venue?
It will be held on the 14th and 15th of October at Noordhoek Riding Club. That's in Noordhoek, obviously. And like Robyn said, you know, you don't have to be involved in the sport. Come along, watch. You never know. It might be something that you want to get involved in. This is going to be a great show. Apparently, we've got lots of entries already. And I think there's going to be a lot of excitement and a lot of action involved.
All right. Will everybody be catered for in the family?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah.
lovely, lovely. And do you have a Facebook presence? Does your federation have a Facebook presence?
Yep, we do. And yeah, go have a look on Facebook. And
would it be
all
Western
up there.
Cape Equestrian?
Western Cape Showing Association.
Yeah.
Showing Association. All right. Thank you, Tarryn and Robyn, for sharing your passion with us.
Pleasure.
And come back and give us some results about the Western Cape Championship.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's it from Equestrian for now. And please stay tuned, because after the break, we'll be back with another amazing sport.